Welcome. Welcome, everyone. And thank you for saying yes to the work of secretary. If you're a local region committee or the last one who touched the binder secretary, you've come to the right place. Please look at the chat box for the attendance link to enter you into the drawing for a prize at the end of this presentation. I'll enter the link again. I know that sometimes the link isn't visible for everybody who arrive after the link is posted. So there, I hope that it's clear for everyone. You know, today is about making your job lighter, lifting the load a little bit, and to let you know that we're all in this together. You're not alone. Because secretaries do more than minutes. We protect continuity, accuracy, access to the information, and establish trust in making sure that our documents are truthful, accurate, to the best we can make them. So when someone asks, what did we decide? You can help answering without panic, hunting, or archaeology, because everyone has access to the answers because you've made it so. This training updates the trainings I did in the last 2 years with Google tools and the latest Robert's Rules of Order guidance about minutes. Our goal is simple: to create records that can be made easily, can be found easily and quickly, that we could share wisely, that we could work collaboratively to ensure the most accurate consensus of everyone, and proudly passing it on to the next generation of secretaries with a happy smile and say, yay. Now, by the book, the official definition of a job description sounds really clean and manageable. Essentially, our job is to keep attendance, record minutes, distribute them, maintain records. And this is relevant for all levels of secretaries. But if that were the entire story, we wouldn't need a workshop to help make our lives easier. We know that in real life, you actually become the memory keeper, the file finder, the name corrector, and the agenda helper. You collect reports, and you are the voice that says, I think I know where that is. The official role gives us the foundation, but the good news is that there are improved tools to help, so we won't be buried under emails of attachments, mystery files, or a desktop that looks like a yard sale. Now, there is the reality beyond the by the book definition. Sometimes our job can feel as if a truck is backed up on us and unloaded all the demands all at once. Our job becomes bigger than the job description because we also help the organization communicate, record, and preserve. And each one of us must respond to every individual president or the nature of and expectations of the group or our local or our region. Everybody's different. Presidents' needs are different. People will expect different things. And that's why they probably asked you to run for secretary or join them, because you've got a symbiotic relationship going on. And that's valuable for giving the group what they want. Because in actuality, you do help create the agenda. That's in Robert's rules. You do help with correspondence. You do help with committees. You do help your members you do help with newsletter articles. You do help with social media postings and website preparations. And sometimes you also have to gently remind people for reports so they get turned in time for the group to examine and review before the meeting. And that will save you meeting time. Now, writing the minutes, uh, well, part of the record, you got attendance, membership records for regional, local, if there's a secretary for those groups, committee, ad hoc reports, motions, votes, and official documents. And writing the minutes is simplified if you use the agenda as a guide and only record what is done without writing everything. And that'll give continuity that will help the next secretary. Now, in 24-25, I focused on saving documents to hard drives, C drives, external drives, the cloud, developing habits. Now, there are some things that have emerged that will help us save time. You no longer have to worry about which version is correct or current. Did I save it? Where did I save it? Did someone revise it? Is it on my laptop, OneDrive, Google Drive, or email from 3 Tuesdays ago? We still need to have good saving habits that will help us develop habits so that we don't have to worry and stress over where we put something. If we do something repetitively and continuously, our lives become easier. And that is a happy feeling. Now, one leader has emerged, and the good news is that this in 2026, we have more tools that make the bricks disappear. Now, a decade ago, and I was one of them too, or maybe 2 decades ago, I'm getting older and older, 74, the Google name brand was frightening. I was afraid of Google taking control. I was distrustful. The name Google doesn't sound professional at all. But now Google has, today, tomorrow will be a different thing. But today, Google is an industry standard. Even NCAE has come to use it. NEA, our LEA districts, everyone is using it because it's so simple and comprehensive where things are all put together. Now, that doesn't mean that other applications are bad at all, but this is commonly used by many people, many groups, many individuals, and it's free. That's the kicker. It's free. Getting a Google account is free. And every single free membership, just opening up an application, opening up an email, gives you a whole family of tools at your fingertips. Now, we're not throwing away the binder spirit. We're keeping all the records, but we're giving the binder wings and at least a cloud icon. We already help with these items, but with the Google products, there's less hunting and we could save more time. And we could have more time even for less hunting for things. We have more time to play with our pets. Now, our job can become tangle-free. It's still not perfect. We still wind up sending emails at midnight with the wrong year or maybe without attachments. But at least with links, if we start using links, we won't forget the attachment. With Google Tools, you can give a source of collective truth. You could give the officers what they need, the agendas with editing access, the members with viewer access instead, so you could have two different things. The officers have a collaborative editing link where they can change things. Everybody else can have the viewer access to the document. So they won't accidentally change or delete things, because whoever has editing access has the power to delete something. But that's okay. Don't panic. Whenever something is deleted, 9 times out of 10, you could still resurrect it. You could still recover it. That's what's really cool about this too. In other words, in the old days, if you forgot to save a document and forgot where you saved the document, even, you don't have to worry about that anymore. Google automatically saves things in the cloud as you're composing it. It's really convenient, and it's a game changer for the past 2 decades. All right. Now, for your modern secretary tools, here is the compact list of Google tools that you have in access. You have the Google Docs that you could use for the agenda, the minutes, the reports, Google Forms. That's what Excel spreadsheets, they'll also accept Excel spreadsheets. They'll convert them to Google Sheets called Sheets that you could use to share information, to restrict information, and still use all the formulas and all for mathematical formulas. Like if you want a certain sum to be populated on another spreadsheet link, it'll still do it. The Google Forms that you can use for attendance, and I'll show you a demonstration with the attendance link that you've used today. And you could collect data, you could take polls, you could find out what your membership thinks about a certain bit of business. It's really wonderful tool for your president, so because he or she will have access to the information too. The Google Drive that comes free with your account, it stores all your files, archives, and puts everything in one place. The sharing permission, this is what's really cool. You have control over to what level of accessibility the people have. And you could create either a shared folder for all your officers so they could always access all the agenda and minutes and reports and everything official in real time. And you could have separate links for everybody else, with the viewer links only. That is to prevent things from accidentally getting deleted and so forth. So it really has given us a real great freedom. And all of a sudden, you no longer have people stopping in the middle of the meeting saying, Julia, didn't we do that? What happened, Julia? You could say, wait, everybody has access to it, and you can see it right here in the minutes. It really is a wonderful freedom because it's like a shared living democracy. Going from the binder to a living archive, I know is hard, especially as teachers. We've always, well, towards the end, we started transitioning more and more to online things, of course, but we also like to have something solid, something that we hold in our hands. And the position of a Google Drive is that it's searchable, it's shareable. So it goes from the binder as something solid, inert in one place to something living that you could access from your car. You don't have to carry around a binder. You could access it. You could share the access to somebody. You don't have to say, you got to send me shipping costs before I give that to you. It's all there. And you have control over it. It's clean and easy. And you could see people's writing style and what their wishes are immediately. We can keep the binder spirit without having to drag around something heavy and hard. Now, the Google Docs agenda and minutes emphasizes real-time editing and instant visibility of changes. For us, the practical point is simple. You can work from one document and invite corrections in one place. The agenda and minutes can work for you. In fact, The governing documents, and this includes Carol. I noticed that you were receiving the hard copy and sharing hard copies. If the officers, including the state, refer to the live link that's on the website, the same link will have the updated policies and all decisions. Case in point, on the 10th, 2 days ago, the executive board approved 2 new pieces of policy. Now, if you hand over or do an attachment of the policy manual, you're going to only see an older version that's 2 days obsolete. But if you use the live link, you'll be able to see the actual changes that were made 2 days ago. So link sharing instead of hard copy attachments sharing will make your lives easier. You no longer have to email people attachments. You don't have to email or make sure that someone's got a hard copy book. You've got the living document. It really is exciting. And you'll have more time. Hi there, Ira. For draft minutes, officers can comment or suggest corrections without overriding your working record. And everybody can work from one document instead of having 6 or 7 different versions of something that somebody has to sit down and type up to merge together into one doc. Collaboration is instantaneous. And once a set of documents are approved and you want it solid and immutable, you can convert it to a PDF, and the PDF can be a permanent record, but you don't have to get rid of your working document ever. You can keep both side by side and living on your shared drive for that meeting. On the Google Forms, your check-ins become living records. The Google form turns into when you do your meetings, if people do the live sign-in, which is being used industry wide, people do their check-ins live on the attendance sheet, the Google form, and then you've got a timestamp. And then you don't have to guess at reading or deciphering people's handwriting anymore in a live check-in sheet like at a meeting. The people will type in on their device, their phone, device, computer, and it'll automatically have their actual email address because it's a live check-in. It'll have their name as they type it. In other words, you won't have to guess at deciphering handwriting anymore. This is definitely a secretary win. Now, for the Google Sheets, the databases are in existence without starting over every year. By making, for example, the executive board directory a live living document, we're saving a lot of time. It automatically is hooked up to the website so that when you look up a directory, you can see the directory of the address, names, telephone numbers, email addresses of the members of the executive board. But the members of the executive board have editing access to that document. That means if I change my telephone number or my husband changes his telephone number, I could type it in directly into that list and it appears in real time on the website so that when I change my address, you have the immediate information. This is pure freedom, real freedom. And you could do that with all your official documents. Now for the database without having to start over every single year, once you've got a new year, you make a copy of the old database, and then whoever the offices themselves, of course, stay the same, but you can enter in and populate the new people's names, new people's address and phone numbers and everything. You could do that for anything that you want as immutable information on a database and then have it change. That way you don't have to start from scratch year after year after year. You now would have a meeting tracker with dates, type of meeting, who's present, absent, guests, quorum notes, and link to the minutes. And an action list can include task, owner, due date, source meeting, status, and follow-up links. Another wonderful feature for your Google family, which is part of your free package too, is the calendar. And with the calendar too, of course, you can put in the documents, you could send the invitations to make sure people have access to that. Now, let's take a look, for example, at today's link. Today's link gave you a view of this document that you used to enter. Please check your chat boxes if you lost that link or lost your email. This is the link that allows you to do your attendance at meetings. You could also do polls. Sky's the limit. If you could think it, there's a way that you can produce it. So this is the sign in, and everybody would do their entry information, and then you would be looking at the response link. The response link looks like this. Everybody who has access to the response link would share this view. Sorry. Now, the sharing becomes really exciting because of the levels of access that you can control. Remember, each document you could control as a viewable document only, or you can make it editable so that anybody, including your officers, of course, and your president, can make corrections and so forth, so that you make sure that the minutes that you present are as accurate as possible. And the editor can change the content. The editor access should be limited to people actively building an agenda, report, or database. The owner or manager access controls the file, so you could use it as you decide is safe and pass it on intentionally, not accidentally. Now, a good rule of thumb is to start from the most restrictive aspect possible and then open the access up as needed. It's easier to unlock the door than chase the cat after it's escaped. Or as the late Dr. Ramey told me, you can't put the toothpaste back into the tube. Now, the safe secretary workflow for shared files. This translates the old triple save travel the tree habit that I talked to you about in 24 and 25, because using the cloud setting keeps the master folders, the control access, and can create PDFs for official records and understand shortcuts and ownership. My old trainings are obsolete in the areas where you are so fixated on using the tree. Now you can use the newer tools for the cloud and a safe secretary workflow for shared files. The collaboration is easy. You can still keep sensitive information within limited access. So if you start restricted, target the sharing for editing. For example, committee chairs who are responsible for the ultimate reports. You can share that, and then you could fix everything as a PDF once everybody has decided, as that is the final, immutable. Nobody's ever going to change it. And you could also put it in your drive as a searchable archive. You can keep the editable source in that archive, separate public from private, and be careful with shortcuts, because a shortcut may point to someone else's live file. But all of that you can see. And remember, nothing is completely impossible to remedy if you ever make a mistake. This is the cloud version of the old discipline from the last 2 years that I gave this training. Save carefully, organize carefully, and protect the official record. And you'll always be able to sleep at night. Now, the Roberts Rules of Order, the 12th edition, the minutes record actions and not speeches. We're not responsible for transcribing reports. The reports are submitted in writing and hopefully ahead of time so that you've been able to share those reports so that the members could review them prior to the meeting, so you don't have to have anyone read anything aloud. You don't have to. I hope you never ever have to read minutes aloud. Those things shared in advance. Everybody's had a chance to review them and voice their formulate what the corrections are and so forth. That saves the actual in-person meeting time. Now, from technology to Robert's Rules of Order, you'll see the abbreviation RONR. That stands for Robert's Rules of Order Newly Revised, currently in the 12th edition. Now, this is what it says. The minutes should record the kind of meeting, organization, date, time, place, presiding officer, secretary, main motions, outcomes, reports filed and received. You don't have to include verbatim debate. You don't have to put in personal opinions. You don't have to put in editorial summaries, he said, she said, commentary, or unapproved side conversations. For reports, you just record the committee or officer name and whether the report was received or filed. Keep the written report with the meeting records. And this is so simple as storing or linking the report in the meeting folder. And the guiding question is, what official action happened? What is the official action? Now, Robert's Rules of Order Newly Revised gives you something else that's really exciting. Minutes are not put to a formal vote. Now, this is different from what I learned in fourth grade, elementary school back in the 50s, the early 50s. The minutes, this is the core procedural update in Robert's Rules of Order newly revised. A formal motion to approve the minutes isn't necessary. If, for example, if you use the chat box, the proper objection to a draft is to offer a correction. The chair asks for corrections and then declares the minutes approved as written or as corrected. Minutes are not put to a formal vote nowadays. If you are using the Robert's Rules of Order newly revised, which is pretty much standard practice and implied, if not stipulated directly in governing documents. Ours stipulates it. This is one of the most important updates in this training. Minutes are not put to a formal vote. Under standard parliamentary law, the chair would ask, are there any corrections to the minutes? Now, members offer corrections directly. And if there are no corrections or after corrections are handled, the chair declares the minutes approved as written or approved as corrected. No motion to approve, no second, no formal vote. I know it'll feel strange because we've been doing it the old way for decades, but this process is actually simpler. And then we listen for the chair's declaration that the minutes were approved as written or as corrected. Boom, you could go on to the real meat of your meeting. Now, when corrections are disputed, that's when your group decides. We often think that only those present at the prior meeting can approve minutes, but Robert's Rules of Order, newly revised 12th edition, provides that absence from the meeting doesn't prevent participation in correction or approval. That's a big change from the past, isn't it? When corrections are disputed, then the group decides. Most corrections are simple: a misspelled name, wrong date, missing title, wording that needs to match the motion more accurately. If no one objects, the correction is made by consent. Excuse me. If members disagree about what happened, then the assembly decides the correction by majority vote. That vote is not a vote to approve the minutes. It is a vote on the disputed correction. Also, excuse me, a member may participate in correcting or approving minutes, even if that member were absent from the meeting being corrected. The purpose is accuracy of the organization's record. It's not a memory test of who was in the room. So a practical script or language is that it replaces the motion to approve the minutes with proper corrections and the declaration process. It makes things so much easier. Now, putting the Google tools and the RONR together, that's Robert's Rules of Order newly revised. We're going to, you can make a sample meeting folder with an agenda, a forms check and response sheet, which is your attendance, the approved minutes PDF, and put the tools and the RONR together. Now, let's do this. The modern tools, I'm going to try to demonstrate this to you in this next slide. From your waffle, you're going to open the drive. Now, what do I mean by waffle? Can you see this as I open the new tab? Does everyone see this drive? Please shake your heads up and down if you could see it. Okay. There is something called the waffle. It's this 9-point grid right here. When you go to the 9-point grid, you can see that you've got all of these tools and more and more. You can create your websites and more for free. It's so wonderful. From the waffle, you hit the drive. That's the drive icon. And from your drive icon, you can see your documents. Your drive can be, your list of documents can be in alphabetical order, going forward or backwards. You can see it as little paddles or tiles, or I like the traditional list that's sortable. I keep mine easy to navigate. I put all of my meetings under Z for Zoom because you see it's the last item and it's quickly accessible. Then over here, I start from number 1, number 2. I've put numbers in front of the files that I want accessible quickly. And then say, for example, looking at the executive board meeting, we can look at it backwards or forwards, but dates modified. That's what's really exciting and wonderful, because you can access the last files that you made. You create a file for every single new meeting. For example, you go to your little, let me do that again. Go to new, press new file, and now that you've got your area open there, you can say, for example, 6/12/26, executive board minutes and documents. Hit create, and now you've got a new folder. From here, this is where you're going to start establishing or creating in a file share in that. And then that will be your first item that you have. So meetings, have it sortable. Last item done. And there it is. Let me show you a file that has items in it. In this file, I've got the meeting minutes that were emailed, and I have the day plugged into the name of the article. This is what's really cool too. You could rename your items easily. It's not like Microsoft Word, where you have to make sure the document is closed, make sure your subfile is closed before you rename a document. You can automatically rename it and insert the additional information as it comes up. Your agenda that you've shared and so forth. And your agenda, you could put in all the bells and whistles so that your members have everything instantaneously, like the attendance link could be right there. Your minutes of the last meeting can be right there. Everything, the finance report is right there. Your reports that you're having, everything is right there in one-stop shopping. And then keeping everything together in that meeting file gives you great freedom. And remember, you could access this Google Drive from anywhere, wherever you have a device, a phone, a laptop, or an iPad. It's really convenient. Now, from this too, for example, this drive, looking back at my drives, you can make these drives shareable. For example, everyone on the current executive board has access to drives of the particular year for which they were a member. That means that when you look at your shared drive, looking at your drive, look on the left where it says shared with me, you click that and you'll see all the items that other people have shared with you. And it's right there, accessible from any device. And then, of course, you can go home and access everything else. And from your window, of course, you can create more and more things from that. At the top of my bar, my task bar, I also keep handy my email, my calendar, and the calendar, for example, the items will have links. Whenever I make an item, I try to give you as much information as possible so you don't have to keep on looking up separate items or emails for things. I keep my picture gallery. I keep my drive accessible. I keep my unnamed folders, and that's a folder that accesses my tree, my hard drive. So you can put things up there that will help make your secretary life far easier in the world. Right. So your meeting folders are completely shareable. You can share the roles. For example, if you're going to be absent from a meeting, you can share that secretary folder with whoever's going to be taking your place. And also, if it's going to be another officer, he or she already has access to your shared folder. And you can, this is another exciting thing too that I'd like to demonstrate to you as well. And that is when you're looking at the minutes and somebody has a correction, for example, if they say, oh, no, Linda didn't preside over that meeting, it was Vice President Lena Merle Chapman. You have that instantaneously on the minutes. And remember, you don't have to do the approval. you don't have to make it hard copy. Now, when you say, "Oh no, everybody votes," it was Linda that presided over that meeting. You could just use the magic keys, Control Z, and it's like it never happened, right? And there you got it back, and you don't have to worry about sharing and resharing. It's all about trying to make your life easier. Now, one of the most dreadful times is, Julia, would you repeat what that motion was? Okay. And there's a panic. You think, okay, can I read my shorthand notes? All right, was there a "the" in there? What was it? Well, if you do the chat box, what I did during the last EB meeting was I started typing in the motion as I heard it directly in the chat box. And that allowed immediate response from the members, from the person who moved the piece of business and so forth, to do the actual correction. And one other motion cure came about to a secretary from Washington State in an NEAR meeting said that he has his people write their motions before the meeting or during the meeting and have them written down so that the language of the motion will be specific. But you can make this form into a Google form too, so that there'll be no more passing of paper back and forth. Okay, you probably already thought of that before, but I just thought of it myself, so that's something that we could add to our palette of tricks. So, with those tools in mind, it could make your life a whole lot easier. And Control Z, that, whoops, be quiet. Sorry. This is Control Z is the command that I was telling you about. Undo quickly, press the control button on your laptop or keyboard and the letter Z, and you'll undo whatever it is that you put in. Maybe you put in the wrong design, you put in the wrong name, you put in the wrong object. You can have a shortcut that'll fix it for you. Now, we are the ones who keep the democracy visible. I know that democracy is messy. So many of us want to make sure that everything is equitable, that it's just, and that the right thing always prevails. And our work sheds light on what happens. Your Google tools and your Robert's Rules of Order newly revised are not just tools or gadgets, but they help us serve everybody else with clarity, because now you have greater ability to keep our democracy visible. It's really showing what everybody is doing. And our good records can help leadership be accountable and make the succession to the next group of officers, slate of officers, possible and easier, because you are organizing your records well. You're protecting our members by always making sure that they have access to what's going on, the decisions, the history, and the next secretary's job becomes easier. You're the ones who are shedding light on the work of what's going on. Everybody could see, oh my goodness, that meeting started at 3 o'clock and they didn't end until 7:15. They are working so hard. The minutes, the reports, the forms, the folders, and the archives, it's not just paperwork. All those things show the members and lets them know what happened and how the leaders follow through the decisions and how future officers are continuing the work without starting from scratch. There is always that fear that when one presidency ends and the new presidency begins, will the work that happened in the past or got started in the past, will those issues be completely gone forever? No, we've got records. You're the ones who created the records and the documents that make the continuity possible. Records, access, accuracy, handoff. That is our duty. And thank you for doing this work, for caring about the details, and for helping RSPs keep their living memory and documents alive. Now the sources for everything I'm going to email this source document out to you too, and I'll also post it so that you will have the actual sources. These are the past ones that I've made so that you have it, and these are the past handouts, because remember, life didn't start today. Some things really still apply. For example, if you want to stick to hard copy or the C drive on your computer or external drives, those prior tips, the handouts and the videos are helpful because it really drills down on 3 ways of saving your documents in the hard way. I mean, hard drive way. The Google tips and tricks video is here if you're new to Google and still would like the nitty gritty details, with cartoon illustrations, with graphic art, and the actual edition itself. Now, I must warn you, this thing is over 1,000 pages, so don't hit print on your computer. Okay, don't do it. This is this is the this is the actual new edition, and this is a shorter one that our new president Tama has given to me, that had tipped me off to. This is on the World Wide Web. You might not recognize it because it goes by the initials RONR. That means Robert's Rules of Order Newly Revised. And then also I used valuable information from Dorsey Harris. He was a prior secretary, and I think he's secretary in a region or local, or doing more things too, as ever. If you know Dorsey, you know how active he is. So make sure that you're prepared for 1,137 pages before you print. Or you could just buy the book. It's not that expensive. It's maybe $15 on Amazon. There is the official short copy view of facts. There's the drive sharing rules, and there's the real-time editing and collaboration. So I've got extra handouts and resources for you to go on and continue on. And this document was created from the PowerPoint speaker notes, so that you will, I'll also share that with you too, so that your life will be easier, much, much easier. And now the drawing, so that we can see who is the winner of the $25 prize. Let me make sure that I've got that up here.